All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're back tonight. We're playing more Swords of the Serpentine. We are coming up very close on the finale here. I think I'm not sure if tonight, but definitely by the end of next week. I think we will see who has survived. Which of the family members live on to tell the tale of the main Wallens, and which are going to join Vincent in Oblivion. Jeremy is running into that wonderful crash error that has been plaguing us for the past 5 or 6 days. So he'll be back, though. Don't worry.
We love Chrome, right? We love.
Yeah. Thanks for the update,
go,
Chrome.
browser.
So awesome. Thank you so much. That's great. You're just super great. That's wonderful. But anyhow,
Thanks.
Okay. Long, did you watch any movies this week?
None, actually. I haven't been keeping up with anything.
You were supposed to watch Sunshine.
Yeah,
it's on the list.
I'm disappointed.
Me too. All right, you don't get any refresh tokens today.
Nope.
So all the refresh tokens go to everybody else.
That's
rough.
That's
so,
tough.
Hope you've been stockpiling.
Good luck, everyone else.
Maybe Vincent will not be the surviving main Wallen.
I did say join Vincent. There's a reason I said that. Okay. Anyhow, but we've been having a weird little glitch lately between StreamYard and Chrome, and it's just annoying. But we're working it out. So Jeremy will be back shortly. While he's gone, let me direct your attention, because last time around you all had an interaction with a river godling, and it went very well. Actually, you all did a great job of making that non-violent. And you all got the Godling's blessing to move forward. So if y'all check your inventory right now, if you look in your equipment, you will see a blessing item in there. It's not the greatest item in the world, but could come into play, could be helpful to you. So all of you got the blessing, and so you can see that it will help you with various athletics tests that involve drowning or swimming or traversing water or stuff like that. And that piggybacking for some of those tasks will be a lot easier as well. So all of you got that, because since all of you contributed to that little encounter as well.
That is very exciting, because we know that players in Lollygagger streams and swim checks don't always go well together. So any benefit that we can have is needed.
I mean, Jeff is safe because he's unlikely to get swallowed by a monster during this game. But
that's true.
The rest
Look,
of
I'm 2 for 2. I'm 2 for 2 with those guys. Bring them on.
That's your tactic at all times. I'm going to jump down the throat of the monster and just beat my way out from the inside.
I am not
combat
subtle.
strategy.
Yeah, definitely works. Like, they have scales on the outside, not on the inside. There you go.
That's right. I will
chainmail don't cover your stomach. Yeah, there you go. Just
discovered the
punch out of a paper bag. No problem.
I just got this vision of these frogs' legs sticking out of the throat of an ogre, and you hear it. Get you from the inside.
What I'm really worried about is you turning that strategy around on me and having somebody jump down my throat and then pop out of my stomach, a la Alien.
But you're small.
Hold on, I got to write down some notes because I didn't think about that.
Well,
there are smaller things.
You got a little time. There are, yeah. So, all right,
like a 18-inch cockroach. That would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was looking at.
Oh, no.
I was talking through a cat, and we were talking about the cricket. Remember from your Conan run a year or two ago, and how amazing that art was. Yeah, and so I was just looking at that the other day. So now we got to get a cosmic cricket. Or we got to get a cosmic cockroach to go along with the cricket. And it'll be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Conan is right around the corner. I mean, if I can't throw a cosmic cockroach in there for him to draw, then I'm just not trying.
Menagerie of creepy things.
Insects.
Yeah. Insects and whatever other creepy things that there are.
True.
There should never be a situation in which the concept of an insect is paired with a mouse. Like, that should just not happen. That is,
I think insects don't have.
I don't know.
Just an insect and something or someone else's mouth, like that.
Well, there's a lot of things.
I was playing in a game with Ben and Aldoon a few years ago, and my character was Monster of the Week, I think, and he was a spook or spooky, and I described him as having a spider crawl out of his mouth and up the side of his head and into his ear, and Aldoon had to drop out of the stream for a few minutes. I felt very successful, but then I had to change character archetype because I realized that I was too spooky.
Yeah.
So you know what, Aaron? You have added to my list because now it's mouths and ears. Neither of those two things should have insects paired with them. So thank you for just adding to this list that I
Knives
now
are okay with the ears, but not insects. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Categories? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like just I one is manageable, the other's gross in all sorts of levels and should not be thought about, considered, or talked about.
The character also used to weep spider webs out of his tear ducts. He was the first Rust. The first Rust character.
Oh, in the Rust family of individuals with issues.
Weird individuals. many issues.
All right. Jeremy is actively downloading the browser you linked, Kipser, to see if we can get that working for him. Poor guy. All right. Why don't we hop into a recap? We'll get started, and hopefully during the recap he'll get it all situated. Jeremy refers to himself as a Luddite, by the way, but I don't think I'm a Luddite, and I was still having the problem. So it's not on him. This is on
it's Chrome's fault.
I agree.
It's Chrome's fault.
We should just rail on Google for a little while. Talk about their AI.
They break shit every few months. It's not good.
Enough. Yeah.
No one is surprised when it happens.
Let's do summary. Okay, so last time around, so you all have been you've undertaken like a little task, a quest here, to kind of head out into the grasping mire to find the site, some sort of altar or shrine or something like that, where your family first signed a contract, or at least allied themselves with this entity Borda, who has been plaguing you all throughout the course of our campaign. So you're heading out there with the intention of trying to sever your family from that connection. And so you've been traveling along the Serpentine River on board a river ship known as the Indomita, and you all made a stop at a river port town called Haven. And things were very odd right off the bat, as you noticed that there was really no activity. No one was there. There were no active boats, no active people in the docks. The yardmaster was missing. A lot of the people seemed missing. You started looking around the village a little bit. Solavita found a cottage filled with gigantic snakes that were all kind of slumbering a bit. And then Arkadiy and Chauncey found some mutated looking people with scales and disjointed jaws and things like that inside the tavern. And so a fight broke out. You all came together. You all kind of rallied a bit to that tavern, and you kind of held them off. Chauncey got surrounded at one point. He was taken down. He was on the verge. He was literally on the verge of dying. But Solavita snuck through this like splintered and burnt wall and was able to sort of patch him up, get him to safety before he died. Fortuna, you managed to get Captain Solano and his sailors to come help as well. Arkadiy slaughtered the shit out of some that were chasing him out of the tavern. And Vincent, you got into people's minds. You actually scared one away at one point. Like they literally fled because they saw you as somebody that they weren't supposed to attack, and then they just fled. Then the snakes appeared. They actually made it out of that cottage that Solavita had seen. They started slithering in your directions, but you all had enough time to get away. You got into your skiff. You started rowing back out the Indomita. Unfortunately, one of the sailors panicked and dove overboard, and he got swallowed up by those snakes. You got some healing, got some rest, and then you came to a strange obelisk in the river about a day or so later. It blocked a series of these branching tributaries, these branching paths. It didn't look natural. It almost looks like some sort of sorcery was going on there. Arkadiy, you had a vision that showed other ships and how they interacted with this obelisk. One of them seemed to treat with some kind of godling, some kind of like part water, part fish kind of creature, and kind of treated with the godling. In doing so, we're kind of giving safe passage forward. Whereas the other one rejected the peaceful notion and got tricked into essentially running their ship aground. So with that, armed with that knowledge, you all chose the diplomatic route. You started offering it things, treating with it. You gave it some cherished artifacts from your family, some hidden knowledge. Vincent invited the godling to the canals, the waters around your home, because that's never gone south before for your family. And then also, obviously, the most probably the thing that really swayed the entire, this is perfect timing. The thing that's probably swayed the deal was the hot goss that Chauncey offered, and the hot goss helped kind of push the scales. And reluctantly, you were granted the godling's blessing. You were warned that it would continue to be watching you, so don't any sort of ill acts. There was things that it deemed as ill acts would see some kind of retribution. And then all those branching paths that you saw behind the obelisk started to converge into one, and you were able to press forward northward. And that is where that was the last session. So we're going to pick up. We're going to pick up effectively a day or so later. I think we healed you all up with your normal regen, your normal recovery at the end of last session, off air. But we're going to pick up about a day or so later, and we're going to say that you all have kind of come to the furthest point that the Indomitable will take. Captain Solano will come up, have a conversation with you all, and say like it's just the river itself, the tributary that you were on, is narrowed a bit and it's become treacherous and a little bit, and it's starting to abut some swampland, and it's essentially declared that the ship can't move any further. But they are obviously giving you some other means of transport. And so what we do is we open up, we see the Indomita in this kind of these dark waters. In the distance to the north, we can see this looming plateau, barely visible. The sky itself it looks like rain might be on the horizon, but it's not here at the moment. And you see sailors are making ready, collecting resources and loading up the skiff that you all can have, because you can potentially use that for a little while. What I wanted to give you guys a chance to do is, if there are any things that you wanted to, any stock you wanted to take, if there's any, if you all are, it's the five of you plus Relis Cade, who Chauncey recruited as a wilderness guide. But there is a crew of sailors, and there's all other people in here. So if there's anything you all wanted to potentially do to see if you could bring some of these people you hired for transport, you're welcome to try. Or if there's any like specific preparedness roles that you wanted to do and try to take some certain noteworthy resources with you, you have the opportunity to do that as well.
Interesting. What should we prepare?
Arkadiy spent all his preparedness last session to come up with crazy living ice sculpture for river god. So he is ill prepared to be prepared today.
We can, by doing a preparedness roll, there can be some things that we have. It's just a matter of not necessarily being able to.
We would want to make sure we take enough oil and lanterns to see by, enough dried food goods so that we do not have to worry about the hunting. Of course, perhaps rope in the skiff.
A lot of that stuff, I would say, is by default. Like you would have food stuff, you would have things. I'm talking more of, are you all satisfied with pushing forward on your own, or are you with yourselves and with Relis Cade, or are you looking to potentially recruit additional members of this crew?
I sure would love for the doctor to come with us.
Okay.
Rude. Okay. I have done a great job on you. Thank you very much.
So literally saved your life.
Trying to get stabbed all the time.
Well, you know what? I'll probably get stabbed again at this rate. And, I don't want to overburden you.
You know, it's not just me. Fortuna is also, and Vincent are also okay at binding the wounds, if you will. If we were to put a name on it.
I do agree, though, that the doctor should definitely, we should definitely have a discussion with the doctor. And really, as many of these individuals as we possibly can, we should certainly ask for their assistance.
Well, I wonder if we shouldn't give them a narrative about what is going on with Borda and that everything is going to get worse and that we are trying to fight against it, so helping would be good, kind of thing. We don't have to mention the fact that we're tied to her, but to get them courageous, if you will.
I would lie instead and say great treasure is at end of road. Many hardships, but great treasure. Most likely die all anyway, so it does not matter.
You don't
If
think that it's not better
God, they're not
to...
going to come with us.
But they know that they're going to die inevitably because everything is going to shit, right? Like, you don't think it would compel them to try to save the people they love?
I think average person thinks, it may not happen to me after all if I run fast enough. Well, I don't know, though. I think you should do your best. I am not a talker. I am
Neither am
other
I.
thing. So
I can't do that. These are just my arguments. I can tell them they're going to die, so they should help us, and that would be my argument.
I would love to see that happen.
I have a bit of and I still have of things that I still have spends to do. If one were to discuss things like spends, I can still spot frailty. So I'm wondering if perhaps if we talk to them, we could see whether Arkadiy's approach or Solavita's approach might be the better way to go. Perhaps we could talk to them and then we could find out, are they going to be more swayed by treasure, or are they going to be more swayed by songs of their courage that will last for generations to come? What are their motivations? Are they in it for the money, or are they in it for...
You presented actually a third option with these songs of long longevity, if you will, blah, blah, blah. But I meant more in the immediate, like, if we don't do it, they're going to die. Like, shit's going to go bad. The food is already bad. That's going to be the standard. And we're all just going to kind of, like, starve. Forget the songs.
We could definitely point out to them that we are in a dangerous situation and then figure out which side of bribing we might want to use, if that might be a way that I could use that spend, perhaps.
I wouldn't require a spend for this. You've been traveling with them for about a week, I would say. Not quite a full week, but closing in on that. You've interacted with some of them. You've had conversations. You've observed them. I would say that despite the fact that Captain Solano seems to have your interests at heart, Fortuna, out of respect for his daughter, that does not necessarily that sort of noble sentiment hasn't necessarily extended to the entirety of his crew, and his crew is a little bit more in the realm of what is in this for them. And that means like Arkadiy and Solavita probably have the right of it, like either with bribery or with fear, but not necessarily appeal to their better natures. It's probably not the best way to go.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and that's definitely when I went spot frailty, I went more in the grit direction. So you instinctively sense and exploit people's emotional vulnerabilities. So that is...
Yeah. Again, we don't have to make spends. Spends are like for the extra bonuses. You're just getting that. This is just something you do naturally by your observation. You just can kind of read people in that way. Okay. So what you could do, if you're trying to recruit some people, just tell me, what you're trying to recruit. Are you trying to look for someone to help you with healing? Are you trying to look to someone to help you with fighting? Are you trying to look to someone to help you with like scouting or whatever it might be? And you just tell me what it is that you want to do, and then we can either do like a sway test, a preparedness test, and one of those two, and then you could potentially get some allies here.
Okay. And it sounded like Chauncey. I don't want to step on Chauncey wanting to get the doctor, so I can focus more on muscle. And frail old woman clearly needs muscle for support, so I think I'll go that direction.
Okay. So we'll say then that Fortuna, you've noticed that one of the ways that the crew has entertained themselves throughout the course of this voyage, especially at night, once they put down anchor and everything, is that they have a variety of they have fighting matches, essentially. And they don't go to the death or anything like that, but they can get pretty bloody at times. And you would know that of the folks that have been particularly effective at fighting. You know that there's someone by the name of Devin Ulf that has like been sort of running that sort of fighting crew, and like people take bets and such. And so you could potentially approach them to see if they're able to make suggestions on who might be willing to come. So you can do a sway or you can do a preparedness. I'll take either, because preparedness could be the equivalent of you bribing them with money. Sway could just be you talking to them, scaring them, however you want to flavor it.
I like the idea of sway. So, Mr. Devon Elf, I have observed you
What?
and
Ulf.
Yes.
Not
Ulf.
elf. There's no
Ulf.
F. Ulf. It's like saying all, and then you put a th at the end. Ulf.
Can I call you Devon?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Mr. Devon, I've noticed that.
Okay, Miss Fortuna, main wallet. What am I supposed to call you?
Ma'am would be fine.
Miss Ma'am. What can I do for you?
I have noticed your prowess when you and the crew have your nightly battles of muscles, or whatever it is that you call it.
You speak weird. That's not how normal people speak.
Yes, I've definitely had different experiences in my life that has led me to different diction, I suppose. You fight well.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yes, I do. That's correct.
I've noted this and am impressed by this.
I don't want to hurt your feelings here or nothing, but you're about like 30 years older than me, and I'm not particularly interested.
I am laughing. Fortuna's face, she doesn't laugh. She just that is not what this conversation is about.
I'm sure you were a Betty back in the day, but it's not that day anymore.
No, thank you.
Different day.
No, you misunderstood my intent. I am having this conversation with you to see if you will join us, and you can perhaps recommend some of your similarly stout, good fighters to join us on the next step of this task.
You want us to come with you into that death swamp? That's what you're saying?
Yes, we do.
Okay. You're going to
and what
pay us and such with
that's
money and coin, not like
what it is that you're looking for. And yes, absolutely. Some of which would have been too much
way
to bring with us. So this is back in Eversink, of course.
Oh yeah. So you're optimistic that you're going to be returning?
Well, of course.
That's a good start. Yeah. Okay.
It's dangerous, but you and don't take this the wrong way, as you already have. You are quite strapping, and many of your colleagues are as well. So you will be able to be successful at what we're about to do.
Most of them look like the ass end of a horse, but they can fight.
And with muscles. They don't need to be attractive. They just need to have muscles.
No, but it's helpful to be attractive, to be honest. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to help with this. I really think it's more the fists and the knives.
You'd be surprised. It's very, absolutely.
Anyhow. Would not have been a way of mine at any time in my life, but I'll trust you on that.
All right.
Okay, go ahead and make your sway test. Or your, you said sway, right? Yeah.
Sway.
Go ahead and make your sway test. And what I'm going to say is, like, there's going to be degrees here. So the better you do, the more you might get. So, like, there's obviously default 4 will get you him. But if you do better than that, you might have the opportunity to recruit some additional people.
Okay. I'm going to spend my last 2 sway on this.
All right.
That's a 6.
Okay. 6. Okay. So whatever you offer is enticing enough that all right, don't really want to raid around here. Solano says we got to stay here for you, and that seems boring as can be. So, all right. Yeah, I can come with you. then he kind of like whistles and he calls to somebody else, and you see a second person start like kind of rushing up, and he like explains the situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that you're going to have 2 fighters that'll come along with you. I'm going to drop a few things on your character sheet here. Effectively, I'm going to treat these similar to how we treated Relis Cade, and that you're going to have allies with dedicated pools. And these, since you recruited some allies here that are specifically for fighting, they are going to have dedicated pools of warfare that you can tap into when you want. So
oh my goodness. What's that like to have a pool of warfare?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to drop 2.
Amazing.
All right.
It's very good to have pool of warfare.
So essentially you have like a total of you have like 6 warfare to tap into now.
Awesome. Arkadiy, you are generally my pool of warfare.
Indeed, this is what I have always been here for, is to protect you as Matriarch, Fortuna. Whenever I get pulled back into this fetid, stinking mire that is ever sinking its surrounds. But he's still good.
Your loyalty does not go unnoticed.
Okay. Chauncey, did you want to try to convince the doctor to join you, the ship doctor?
Yeah, I would think that's a good idea, even if it hurts my cousin's feelings.
Okay. So yeah, I think this was Inez. I think that's who. Oh no. This is Tarna. Tarna Jesh is the name of the
ship even surgeon. Helped save her from doing the whole jumping thing.
Yeah. So we'll say you find her below. She's stitching up somebody, maybe one of last night's fight club victims, and she's sitting there just sort of stitching away, and she sees you come in. What do you say?
Excellent work there, and I just want to say thank you so much for the attention you've given everybody. We are about to press further in, and even though I have family that are somewhat skilled at leechcraft and that sort of thing, but I very much hope not to get stabbed further.
The one Sola Vita, I heard she saved your life.
Oh, she's amazing. I love her to death. And if I could put all of my faith completely in her, I would. But this does seem the sort of thing where, like, strength in numbers is important. And sometimes there's a task that's just too big for one soul to take upon all the burden. And if I may be presumptuous, you seem like the sort of person that has dedicated themselves to a greater good, to helping others. And I know it's a bit of a push to lean on you, but clearly you know what you're doing, and I would be so grateful if you would consider joining us. I mean, there's with the concerns of not just physical wounds, but also who knows what sort of infections could arise, or just somebody of your intelligence and your skill would be of an incredible boon to us, if you'd be willing to consider it.
Those are the kindest words anyone's ever spoken with me. I should be honest with you, Mr. Chauncey. I was originally one of the cooks, but apparently no one likes my cooking, and the previous ship's surgeon choked on, one of my creations. And so we have a policy here that since it was my fault, I effectively took over their role here. I'm very good at stitching, though. So wounds and things like that, yes.
Well, that sounds still quite amazing. And, really good on you for having the dedication to go from cook to surgeon. My word. That's amazing. And I applaud your willingness. It was a transition.
Yes. It was a little complicated at first. Apparently, people, sometimes when you work with meat, it doesn't feel. But then when you work with people, they do. And that was a bit of that was something I had to get accustomed to be honest.
I see. Do you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing that you're adaptable, and I think survival in this situation requires adaptability, and you are the perfect person for this job. But I hate to, impose upon you, but I could not search for a better companion in this quest, and I beg you to join us.
Well, it's a very, very flattering words. And she, you can tell she's considering it. Go ahead and give me your test.
Okay.
And this one, the degree of your success will determine the amount of bind wounds points she has available.
Okay. I'll put a couple into it. 6.
Okay, so she is going to have a total of 5 points in her bind wounds. So
nice.
You can now say that you have a Tarnajesh is her name. So I'm going to drop something on your character sheet. So you've got 3 extra supports now coming with you. You got 2 fighters, you got a healer. So if anybody has anything else they are looking to do, you're more than welcome to do it. So you should see a healer item on your equipment. Basically.
Nice.
Just a dedicated pull point. That's all it is.
This is very helpful.
Spend my allegiance with the Outlanders, maybe grab a few survival people.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, you can tell the ship's crew is eclectic. Like there's definitely you've heard voices of different accents and such. You definitely some sinkers, but also there's been folks from Came and certainly folks of the kind of the pirate islands and such. So there's a difference of voice from time to time. So you're trying to find some scouts and things. Yeah, we can do something like that. Yeah. Okay, so we can say that maybe there have been just basic workers on the deck. You can tell they're laborers and things like that. But they never they do their work, but they always seem to kind of avoid or elude the ire of their bosun or their captain whenever they come on task, and they always just seem to kind of slip into the shadows. They're very good at kind of hiding and observing things. So,
as my type of people.
Yeah, and so I think you probably have a certain appreciation for it, right? And so we'll say you find a few of them who are off at the bow right now. And you can see they're playing around with some kind of leaf thing, and you can see that they're rolling it around into these little these little papers that are really making these cigarillos, and they're
no idea what that is. I'm sure it's a weird custom for them.
Would you care to try it? It's quite tasty.
Oh, it's what does it do?
What doesn't it do? It opens the mind. It calms the nerves. It focuses on what your task is, and it makes you feel filled with so much vigor.
Well, yeah, that does sound like something I need right now. And she'll lean in. You know how everything is going bad, all of the food. Oh yes, thank you. You know how all the food and everything is going bad.
Some of the food is. The food that we've brought and the food that we fetch ourselves seems to be fine. But anything down in the holds seems to be going southward, yes?
Well, that is going to spread, and even the things that are fresh are going to be bad soon enough. And we're going to try to travel and figure it out before we all die, and I would appreciate if you came with us.
You want us to come out into the swamps with you?
Well,
I heard you were going out there.
Yes?
You know what they call that place?
Death traps, let me see here. It was maybe Poison Valley would be a pretty good name for it, I think. Death Swamp?
Could be. Death Swamp is what I heard.
Oh, that's a good one, yes.
That's not very inviting, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't want to go out, which is why I greatly appreciate this custom you have going on. It seems useful, but
you're supposed
if I
to
don't
pass
go
it
out
back after you've taken a puff
here
or
you
two.
go.
You're not supposed to keep it there. It's
well, here you go. I don't want to, but if I don't do it, then the people that I care about, all of the corruption that's happening here is going to spread and it's going to get worse and it's going to happen to them, which I would prefer not to.
That sounds like a mighty difficult problem you're facing.
Yes. It sucks.
So you want our help
Yes.
to go out into a place known as the Swamps of Death. And
Yes.
then this is all because you want your people saved.
Well,
What exactly is in it for us?
ideally, I want not just my people, but all the people. I spend some time in. Well, like my friend Etta, I would like her to be safe. She is, I think, she has a similar accent to you.
Does she now? Yeah. Oh. And would you make an introduction, perhaps, if we're able to return?
You know, I think she might still be single. She's working, if you don't mind architects, she's working her way up in, the building of the buildings. She's doing a really good job, honestly.
Well, that's very interesting for one of us, but if you want more of us, I don't know. That's not very gentlemanly, of course, to be making such promises, but how about just good old-fashioned payment?
Actually, I can give you money. My lifestyle is like medium, which means I have 1 wealth to spare, which means, yeah, I can give you money right now.
Okay. If you've got like leftover stuff that you never spent.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
I kept 1 wealth for myself.
Okay.
I made sure.
Sure. Well, I think wealth is based. Oh, so you didn't like spend it down. Okay.
I kept myself comfortable. I didn't do the higher tier of wealth, which means I had 1 wealth left, which means, I
'cause
have
we got
money
like
to give you.
We got 4
Okay.
wealth after the last arc.
Yes.
Take like just we'll treat it like a +3 to your roll. So make a roll, give yourself +3 for that, and then we'll see how you go.
Would that be? I guess that would be sway.
Sway is ideal, but if you
Okay.
want to make a case for something else, we can.
How about burglary?
Burglary.
I have no sway, so I can roll it straight with a +3.
Just roll straight because you're gonna pass. At the
Yeah.
very least, you're gonna get 1, and so you make this something a little bit better.
Okay, just add 3 to this roll. 4, so 7.
7. Okay. So I'll say 2 of them will agree to come along with you. We'll say the third is like, I'm not going in there. You all are crazy. It's called the Swamps of Death. It's not called the Swamps of like a nice easy stroll on a Sunday. That's not what it's called. You're gonna die.
Oh, well, it is going to suck a lot. I hope not to die.
And so they slink off. But I'm gonna drop two scouts into your sheet. So basically, these have dedicated pools for stealth and things that you can kind of tap in on. And also, just because they have dedicated pools doesn't mean you can't use them for other things if there's something that you all come up with. But
Okay.
you have now grown your little force here by, was it 5, I think, in total now?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
Yes.
Doubled our size.
good. Okay. Yeah. So I think you guys are up to 11 now if you take Relish
Oh, yeah.
So they're going
That's
to load
right.
up the second. Yeah. So you might get the second boat and everything. That's it. the
We're
second
gonna
step. Okay.
live forever.
Uh-huh.
No.
It's always like
We're going into the swamps of death. That is what they called
Yeah.
it, Fortuna. Did you not know that?
Most of you GMs know is like when the GM starts giving you stuff, you know it's gonna go bad. You know it's gonna be rough. Right?
Yeah,
We're all gonna
it's sort of
die.
like,
Okay.
oh look,
Okay, you
you
guys can go ahead
stumbled
and heal,
off.
no problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
stumble
A
across
couple of days
chest
to rest,
with 10 health potions.
Hey, can I buy this? Yeah, go ahead. You can buy it.
Take whatever you want. You want 10 henchmen? Go ahead, take it. All right.
They all die same moment I bring the dragon now. Okay, so anybody else doing anything before you depart?
Dear Solavita, a moment before you depart.
Yes. What is up, Vincent, as they say?
Thinking back on my adolescence, and all I see is darkness.
Well, yes,
But
you
there's
were
a
in a
fuzzy-
little prison. Oh.
I was a prison, you say?
Uh,
Your face comes familiar. It lights the place up. Why is that?
I was there when you got out. It was a kind of an actual sunny day. We were in Eversink, which is the city that we're from. You came out, and I was standing there in the first light you had since something like 12 years, I think you were imprisoned. It was...
I hardly remember any, but I'm glad you were there. And I'm glad you're here now.
We are cousins, Vincent. We are blood.
I know that. I haven't forgotten that.
Well, that's good, at least. It's, we do magic together as well, if you remember studying with us.
Of course. But the place we're headed to, this ritual, I've told the gist of it to everyone else, but not the full extent of it. Of course, you probably already know. I can fully trust you on this, but we might not all be coming back. That's very apparent.
I said goodbye to Denisio already. I've told him that I will do what I have to do to make sure that they survive.
But the only thing pulling me through this is knowing that your children, Chauncey's as well, have a better future. I'm doing this for them.
Yes, me too.
And remember that time you were working on rebuilding our manor?
Oh,
and I was studying late?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't told you your true name yet.
Oh.
It appeared to me that night you brought extra candles while I was studying. And that flame that was burning, it revealed to me something. And I whispered to her, like incoherent syllables. And she feels a nice little power boost here of 5 points that you can spend.
I will use that in sorcery because I have zeros
Absolutely.
across a lot of my abilities. Thank you.
Yeah. So you've done that now for Chauncey and Solavita, and you still, I think, have Fortuna and Arkadiy that you can do that for as well. Very cool.
That is...
Maybe he doesn't like us and isn't planning to do
Appreciate
that.
that, Vincent.
Die, Arkadiy, die.
If you need help with the ritual, you let me know, and we can figure it out together. We'll draw the maps and the lines, and we'll figure it out.
That's very reassuring. We'll get it done.
Yes. Thank you. You are a very good cousin. I'm always happy when you come visit Eversink during your travels.
Okay. Any other business before we move it along? Okay. So we'll say after some conversations between the recruits and the captain, who is skeptical but doesn't argue with you, allows them to leave. You all descend. You leave the Indomita. You get this skiff. It can fill. You have 11. We'll say just for the sake of story verisimilitude, we'll say that you all can effectively fit. It's a longer piece, and you start venturing off in a way from the river deeper into the mire. You can see that Chauncey, your pal Relis Cade, will kind of take up a position of where he's kind of looking and pointing to things and warning. He looks at a section of this sort of dark pool of water surrounded by reeds, warns people away from those types of places. It'll drag you under and you'll be never seen again. Occasionally you'll see the movement of something in the water that you see a tail, or you see a tentacle, maybe, you're not sure. You hear the sounds of calls of birds that you've never heard before, and insects galore begin to harass all of you, your necks, your arms, any exposed skin. So Chauncey, I'm gonna need a couple things. Do you want to make a spend with Cade to try to kind of navigate some of this mire?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much.
I figured. Okay. So he'll
Please
be like, okay.
Smart wilderness man.
You still wearing the skin? Okay. Because he's looking at your snake skin and stuff. Okay, now everyone, quick lesson. If you see anything that looks like Chauncey, but doesn't have arms or legs, or even if it does have arms or legs, just give a shout. If it's really big, it'll probably attack us. If it's really small, we leave it alone. Don't chase it, but it's probably poisonous. The smaller the thing is, the more potent the poison. So don't go getting fancy with any of this or any of that. Okay, so you make your spin, and you all start kind of trudging and pushing. And I'll say for the first half a day, the boat suffices. You have this boat, but even at a certain point, you guys start to realize the water and the mire is named appropriately, as like the reeds themselves come up and start wrapping around oars, and you hear some of your fighters who have been doing the rowing for you are like kind of calling out and just like, no, God, get this bloody thing off, and they pull the oar out, and you can see just wrapped around it is this massive like clump. It almost looks like a fur ball until you realize it's just these reeds and these leaves that are soaked in it, and it takes like a good 10 minutes just for them to kind of pull it free and unwrench it. And at a certain point, after about a half a day or so, Relis will turn to you, Chauncey, and he will say, "I'm sorry, Mr. Chauncey. I think we might have to go the rest of the way on foot."
I defer to your expertise. I'll gladly share that news with the others. But obviously, the last thing we want to do is be in a bad position in the water if it's not manageable. So if you think on foot's the way to go, I trust you.
Well, it's just that things are getting thicker and thicker. Both the reeds, the water, the mire. They're talking about not even able to get their oars up sometimes, so we got to move carefully. There's places to walk. We just have to make sure we set our feet in the right places.
And he's kind of like pointing out like these little clumps of like vegetation, like that's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad. And then like he does that classic like step where I step. Okay, put your feet where I put my feet. And that kind of gets passed down the line.
If we're leaving the skiff behind, should we maybe take the remaining oars to like prod in front of ourselves?
Well, you can do that if you like, but I had another tool in mind, and he
pulls out like this, basically like a machete at this point, and he kind of gets to this like whacking down of reeds in front of him.
I don't have one of those. I'm going to grab an oar.
Crocodile Dundee hat. Yeah. Okay. You pull out. You get an oar, and it's like it's still got the clump around it too, and they're just like the fighters just look at you like we're getting out. So what's the point? Okay. So let me ask you all a question. So as you are traveling, what are you doing? When I ask that question, I'm asking you from like an investigative ability spend. Like, what is there things you're studying, or things you're looking out for, or things you're preparing for? Like, is there something in particular that you would be doing?
Arkadiy would definitely, I mean, his head's on a swivel. He's a see and sight on target acquisition, fully using vigilance at all times. I mean, it's the core of who he is. So
perfect. Okay. Who else? Vincent, do you have something?
Yeah, I'll try and go for prophecy. Get like glimpses of the past of their ancestors that maybe made the same trick if it looked like this.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you're going to tap into your prophecy. Good. All right. Excellent. I like that. No spend necessarily just yet on this. I'm just asking you guys, like, what are you potentially doing? Okay. What about Sola Vita?
I don't have any wilderness skills, but the Guild of Architects and Canal Watchers would work with water and getting like buildings that are on safe and stable ground in things that are sinking. So can I spend Guilds of Architect and Canal Watchers to try to get like help find the most stable path?
I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah, like you would. Like it's a different vibe, but it's still a swamp. Everything's still built atop a swamp, and obviously things are a little bit different. But knowing when things are going to sink in with that, so yeah, I think that could work. Again, I'm not asking for spends just yet. I'm just asking for like what are you all relying on in terms of your abilities. What about you, Fortuna?
So Fortuna is keeping an eye out because she has this new Matriarch ability that has to do with the swamps. So the ability to sort of like walk across the swamp as if on a cobblestone road. So she's kind of looking to see if things are going to get to a point where that might be a necessary thing for her to use. So that's kind of what she's looking at of like, okay, does it look like there's anything that she's going to kind of need to do to make this traversable for all of us?
Okay. Okay, so you're tapping into like the sorcery, like you're basically your matriarch granted sorcery, and okay, all right, duly noted. I'll come back to you in a second, and then and what about Chauncey?
I think Chauncey feels like walking through the swamp and doing all this really sucks, and he knows that means that everybody else feels like it sucks, and he really doesn't want any of them to like cut and run and leave us. So, I mean, we've already done shanties before. It worked on the ship. And, like, why not do some sort of, like, marching chant, so to speak, to A, kind of keep everybody's spirits up, and B, it keeps you focused.
Okay.
Maybe like a charm sort of thing. But basically just, like, don't get lost. Avoid people getting lost in their own heads, like going through the terrible death swamp. Have something else to focus on.
Keeping people's spirits up. I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So Chauncey is starting to get this song going. Vincent, I'm gonna start with you. You tapped into like prophecy, right? Like, there is a spend if you want to make it where you actually could get a proper vision of something if you would like.
I would have to do 5 audience to get that one investigative for this arc.
Okay, you don't. It's up to you. It's not something you have to spend. You can always say no to a spend. It's just there if you wanted it. You're gonna get something either way. It's just a question of what I give you.
I'll pass for now. Then I'll save it.
What you, as you're moving along, and as like you hear Chauncey kind of trying to egg people on with singing here and there, you hear the sounds of Solavita's voice and Rella's voices kind of trying to help people. Some people fall into the swamp and she reaches down and helps them up, and Rella's as well. And there's like all this chatter coming amongst you. And then like sometimes it starts to harmonize a bit around Chauncey and his voice. Vincent, you realize like there's like, it's almost like you hear another conversation that seems to be going on at like the same time that you all seem to be traveling as well. And you look around and the people's mouths when they're moving never match or align with like the cadence of conversation that you're starting to hear in your head. At first, maybe you think, grimoire stuff that you have from more sites, but then you start hearing the voices become louder and louder. And then some of them sound inhuman as well. And you've had experience at this point in your life with Chugat. And you remember hearing the sounds of their voices, which were this sort of guttural chant. They seem to communicate with each other, but wasn't really something that you could discern. But you start to hear bits and pieces of them kind of going back and forth to one another, different tonal intonations. You can kind of get the sense that there's more than one in the conversation. You get the feeling that you're listening to a conversation that has happened recently and through here. You feel like you're just like instinctively or naturally tapping into this in some way. What it means, where they're going, what purpose, you don't know.
Chugat. I just whispered under my breath.
I would say, like Arkadiy, Solavita. Like if you guys hear those, you hear him whisper it, you would all recognize that word at this point.
Dear cousin, did you see Chugat in the area? I've kept my eyes peeled. I have not noticed. I do not believe.
I didn't see. I heard them.
Are they following us? Are they stalking us?
No, they're not here. They've been here. We're here.
Don't know what it means. Vision of Chugat?
Not quite a vision. Only sounds.
Well, let's hope.
Not sure if it comes in a warning.
Yes, they were.
Don't know what it means.
Far earlier than this, and we don't have to run into them.
Something to be aware of.
Arkadiy, as you guys are traveling, you're listening. You're keeping your eyes peeled, and multiple times you hear the sounds of like of something encroaching upon the party, but like crawling through. You see the movement in like reeds or the rippling of water to suggest that something was kind of peering close. But you all are loud and in a decent number, and it seems to kind of scurry away. You get the sense that there's there might be a beast or two kind of lurking in the water or lurking in the reeds, but none that seem to want to brave a group of 11. At one point, however, Arkadiy, towards dusk, as like Relis is looking around for a place to try to, a dry place, a high place to maybe camp for the night, as you progress further and further, you hear a voice call out, Arkadiy. You hear, "Help! Help me! Help!" Just like young, feminine, you think? Not like a kid, but like younger. And just kind of calling out from somewhere around. And you start to notice as you're the first to hear it, but you start to see bits and hear bits of Chauncey's merry crew of singers. His chorus starts to like stop singing and look. You hear that? You hear that? You all hear that? And then it becomes the kind of cascades through the group until like everyone at this point is sort of listening and looking at you as you're peering out in the direction of where you think it's coming from.
Listen, clearly this is trap. Whatever is making noise, making statement, is not good. No woman is running around in the swamp alone crying for help. So we stay together, we stay on high ground, we stick to what Relis has told us. Devon, do not allow any of your men to go herring off after what they think they hear, because they will disappear into swamp, never to be seen again.
Copy that. I no hero. None of us are heroes, really.
Excellent.
So, you guys kind of camp down for the night, and for a little while, like you find like you set up watches. We don't need to get into the specifics of it, and probably after everyone has mostly settled in, and there might be only one or two like sentries up. Everyone's kind of startled awake as you hear like a second voice now come in. You hear help, 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 help. Help. And like this strange like intonation of the word help, and it's just like 3, 4 different voices, 5 different voices, all of it kind of coming and sounding alien, peculiar. It's like someone, you're not wrong, it sounds like someone is like imitating the voice, but exactly what, you're not sure.
It reminds me of the stories about the will-o-wisp. Like it's definitely it's not mimicking properly anyway.
Clearly, perhaps we should be more prepared in case whatever is trying to lure us away decides to attack instead.
Yes, but we still need sleep, so maybe
we double up on shift then.
Yes, and wax earplugs for the sleepers. We got some candles around here, right?
Is it camels?
Candles.
Oh, candles.
We have
candles. We got camels around here. Their pieces
They just
like
put the
wax
cigarette butts in their ear.
Candle.
They keep it lit and they just hold it there and they pull it out.
Oh god, you won't hear anything
actually
now.
Way more comfortable than you think.
Okay. All right. So you plug your ears. Everyone stays vigilant. Everyone stays alert. A couple hours pass. Pre-dawn. And it's starting now. It almost sounds like there's it's like this cascade of, it's almost like insects, right? That just get louder and louder. And you hear over and over. And it's becoming this like cacophony where, and it also feels like it's starting to spread. So it's no longer just coming from like one direction, Arkadiy, but it almost feels like it's beginning to sort of pan out and spread in some way. What is everyone doing? And again, same question in terms of like, are there specific ways that you're trying to glean information about this moment? There are investigative abilities you might try to apply in this case.
I mean, Arkadiy would stick with vigilance. I mean, that would be his go-to still.
Okay. You would know, you would definitely have a general location of some of the voices, but no more information about what those voices actually are. But you would know that there are some in front of you, some behind you, and you feel relatively surrounded.
I don't have a point to spend for it, but maybe Forgotten Lore to have read about this at some point.
Okay. There are several species of various beasts that do have like a mimicking cry to them. You would know that it could be many things, to be honest, though you're not sure what's indigenous to this area without a spend. But there are species of creature, there are species that might mimic a sound of some kind. I would want to spend to get anything more definitive.
I do not have the investigation points for a spend, but I will give this information to the rest of the group and start to talk about all the variety. It could be. I don't know what lives here.
Okay. Vincent, you're looking very pensive. Do you have an idea?
No, I'm looking at my same things, and that's the only one that wouldn't match.
Okay.
And just like running out of points as well to spend for more info.
I have two.
Kind of in a rough spot.
Fortuna has a point of Outlanders as an ally. Is there like
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I would. Well, Chauncey, do you have an idea before I give Melissa a hint?
I didn't mean to step in. I apologize. I do, but I don't want to interrupt.
What do you think?
I mean, if it is kind of like there's like this weird like mimicky sort of thing. So we've heard mention of Chagat, and they do seem to kind of like change their tone, like different decibels, and so maybe they will get some. Basically, I'm looking to do a point of trustworthiness. Like we're kind of doing like a call and report sort of thing, and so we're already doing the sing song sort of thing, and he'll try to lead people to do like if they bring this tone, reply in this tone. They do this tone, reply in this tone. It's not a guarantee, but it'll be the sort of thing like if nothing else, it might keep them like a little bit more tame, or at least more interested because they're hearing us reply to them in the same tone that they're calling to us.
Sorry. So you want to try to so you're trying to mimic the sounds that they're making?
Yeah, basically I want to do a call and reply sort of thing with them. Like, so whenever they call something to us, we'll do our song, but shift the tone to match it a little bit. And maybe because they're actively trying to listen to us and engage us with what we're doing, now we do the same back to them. And maybe just by doing that, we keep them preoccupied with like, oh, isn't this a fun little game? And just buy us a little bit more time to keep moving.
Okay. I'll take the trustworthy spin. Yeah, I'll take that. Like the try to sort of gauge based upon tone, like what this is. You still don't know exactly what you're dealing with, what's actually going on, but you do start to send these things, these sort of vibes back.
Yeah.
And there is like call and response kind of happening as you do that.
Yeah.
And you do hear them respond in some way.
But and somebody mentioned Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and that's exactly where my head is.
And
does Rellis have a wilderness mastery to spend that he could spend?
He does have wilderness. Yeah, so that's the other thing you could potentially spend if you wanted. But your trustworthy spend's totally fine. And I would say, Arkadiy, one of the things you would know with just kind of keeping your vigilance alert, the voices do seem to stop getting closer once Chauncey starts to actually mimic those voices. Like they're still surrounding you, they're still kind of in the area, but they were getting louder, and you think that they were kind of closing in on you. But at this point, there's sort of a pause, and that definitely does. Chauncey's not wrong. It does seem to buy you some time, and like you're getting weird looks from your now increasingly nervous sailors that you have with you, like. Well, what the hell are you doing? What are you? And they're just looking up as Chauncey, hi, back and forth into the darkness. Okay.
Rellis, off. Perhaps it's time to move forces out, and he'll point out where he knows that there are clumps of them. We're basically surrounded, but perhaps if we tighten our formation and begin to move, well, we will be able to slip past the ranks of whatever this is.
That's not a bad idea, but it's dark, so we gotta be extra careful. It's easy to fall into in the daytime, even harder when the sun's not out.
So he starts like getting everyone up and packing. Fortuna, did you have something that you wanted to try to do?
I'm trying to resource manage because I have a point of corruption, but I need to spend the point of corruption to use the Matriarch stuff. So I'm like, I feel like there's probably a little more heroic time to use this than right now, maybe. So like, I have a point of corruption.
You don't have to. You don't have to spend the corruption to use. Like, you still have sorcery and points and stuff like that too. So, but you can. But you would need to spend that to have some idea of what's going on here. Yeah. If you wanted to make that spend, you might that might be the type of thing that you gleaned from your brief. Your brief connection to Borda.
I will do the spend because I still have the audience cash out if need be. So I will make the corruption spend. Let's see what Fortuna can learn after that corruption spend with her new Matriarch abilities.
Okay. You, as you think back to your time years ago when you were connected to Borda and you were essentially being infused with a element of her power, and you've had this ability now to kind of control various swamp elements. So like usually it's like swamp gases and swamp water, like specifically not any water, but specifically like the grimy, like murky, brackish water of a swamp you can control. You also were privy to a little bit of knowledge that seeped through, like things that maybe she didn't want you to know. And part of that had to do with a creature that is, while it's not it's not necessarily like it's not an ally of hers or anything like that. It's not necessarily a creature that is even under her domain, but it is one that she is aware of. It's a particular type of primate, actually, that pervades the lands. And it's like even though it looks like bipedal, it's definitely not human. Like but it's like this dark fur, this like hideous face. They have the capacity to make sound. She referred to it in her mind as something called a skunk ape.
Oh my. And
they had the ability to effectively mimic sound, and that was one of the ways that they kind of lured prey. And they move in packs as well.
Okay. So this is definitely a trap. These are, I believe, skunk apes that can mimic us, and there are probably many of them that are out there. By chance, do I recall anything about what can be used to subdue them, or like their level of aggressiveness and hostility?
I will tell you. Okay, so I'll say like you made a spend, so I'll give you some other things. There is belief that they are like all of the creatures that essentially inhabit this mire or near the plateau. They all kind of give their allegiance to like a specific demonic entity. So like serpents and foxes and things towards Borda, but likely they are infused with the power of some other kind of creature, right? Something similar to Borda, but not quite like her. And there's, in terms of like special ways to defeat them, they do not like fire. That would be the thing that they're covered in fur. There are various swamp gases that sometimes can be lit and can ignite, and so like fire tends to be something that alarms them.
Very useful information. Okay, so Fortuna would kind of update everyone. There are skunk apes. They can about what they are doing is about what they can vocalize, but they have fur. And they don't like fire. So, for the tacticians among us, that may be helpful.
Do we have a campfire, or did we not do a campfire in the swamp? Question.
It's up to you guys.
Perhaps we light torches and carry torches with us,
or start a big bonfire? push
Well, we
them
must
out like
move, so
wolves.
staying here is probably not.
We could certainly leave a fire in our wake, but I don't think it would take them much to just go around the fire and follow us. So we could do both.
Okay.
Light torches and leave a fire behind us.
Well, maybe me and a few of the friends that I made with the little smoking, we could try to scout the path with a stealth check and see if we can't make sure we're all moving safely and discreetly away from them.
Sure. Okay. Do you want to send your, you can send your scouts out if you want to get if you wanted, you could do one of two things. You could either have them send them out ahead to blaze a trail, and you would be rolling a stealth test for them. Mm-hmm. Or you can send them out to kind of get better numbers in terms of what you're dealing with. Those are types of things you could potentially do with them. So
I was thinking more yes, we would kind of have them go out as a stealth unit, but maybe the whole camp, we could do a team stealth check.
Yeah, we could.
To get them all out of here.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm just throwing something out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is going to sound incredibly stupid, because that's how most of my ideas sound. But there's only so much space, right? And if these skunk apes, so to speak, they serve some other master, whatever, it's not border. But there's only so much room, right? So you've got skunk apes, you've got Chughat, right? And we really don't want Chughat around, because they clearly are directly in service of border. So, if we were to keep the skunk apes close to us, but not too close, that also means that's kind of a space that the Chughat aren't there. So it's it's like a dangerous game. I get it, but it is a buffer of sorts to keep the skunk apes close to us.
So we can take Arkadiy's idea and carry torches so they don't come too close, but you could continue your call and response so that they stay close by.
It's dumb, but maybe.
Fortuna, do you know if they're
we should definitely
nocturnal?
be killed by both Chugats and skunk apes at the same time when they converge on us. It's a wonderful plan. Fully support.
To Chauncey's deviousness, we have provided ourselves with Solavita, what is it the kids call it? Is it a meat shield? Is that the phrase?
That is a phrase. But you do know that I'm in my mid-40s at this point in time. Kids these days, you're going to have to talk to Natal, or Chauncey's got the 13-year-olds, and that's going to know even more up-to-date stuff than me.
Well, you by osmosis, you hear the things they say, and you know what kids these days say.
But Natal is on the cusp of adulthood, which means that she's already become uncool. Compared to a 13-year-old.
Well, had you brought them around me more often, I might be also up on the things that kids these days say. But neither of you bring your kids around enough. So.
Relish is next to you. He's are they always like this? This is ridiculous.
This is why I left. This is why I left city and tried never to return. If we survive this, you can come with me to lose wreck. But we cannot. Yes, okay. Let's go.
We're about to be eaten. This is just my point.
Yes.
Yes, okay. I know.
So our big decision is, do we want to stealth out as a group, or do we want to kite them along and have them as a meat shield?
Well, my thinking is these apes, swamp is their home, right? Sure. I don't care how quiet we are. I have a feeling we're not going to get very far away from them. But we can definitely try. I just think we should keep our expectations low and move quickly with torches.
Okay, so not stealth. I got it. Let's do torches then.
Okay.
And plus, Chughat had those little blue ball fire things, and I'd rather have monkey men swinging sticks at me than fireballs.
Have you ever seen a baboon's mouth when it opens wide and bites the head off of lion?
I don't know what a baboon is, but if it can bite off a lion's head, I don't want to.
Yes, well, this is what I'm talking about. Skunk ape, perhaps equally terrifying.
Well, just fuck.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Which is why we should perhaps toddle along.
Okay. Toddling along we are with our torches.
Okay, so are you attempting? So I just want to make sure I understand this. So because there's going to be a check here, one or the other. It just depends on how we're flavoring it.
Oh god.
Sure.
If you're trying to stealth away, it's pretty straightforward. We do a piggybacking stealth test, compare, like modified by their alertness, etc. If you're trying to do something else, like you're trying to lure them, kite them, to use Kipster's term, I'm thinking back to like, did anyone ever use the word train? Like when you're playing like EverQuest or World of Warcraft, like train the whole dungeon on us, like something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like. So you could do that. And so that would be one thing. Or if you're trying to essentially like intimidate them and use your flames and stuff to get them to back off, like it looks like it's one of those three things. So which of those strategies are we employing here?
So perhaps the wise thing might be to use some of our warfare spends that we have to try to scare them away. That might be the smart thing. Because to Arkadiy's point, stealth may not work because this is their home turf that we are trying to move around. So that may be less useful. So perhaps we use our warfare strong, muscled folks to scare.
We make ourselves. They'll probably keep following us and observing us, but we make a demonstration of strength enough that they don't get too close just yet.
Exactly. Puff out the proverbial chests and whatnot.
I like it. We okay with this?
That sounds
yeah,
fun.
we got the torches lit already, so let's send it.
Let's do a warfare test. So we're going to do a piggyback warfare test. Whoever can lead it, but then we're going to piggyback. And remember that piggybacking, you have to be able to make the spend. Otherwise, it increases the difficulty by 2. However, I will say if you personally can't make it, you can always tap into your NPCs that you have recruited. You took some time to recruit if you wanted to make the spend that way.
Devin and his friend will be fortuitous spend for sure.
Okay. So who wants to be the lead on this? Who wants to do the lead on the sort of intimidation scare test?
I'm assuming it'll be Arkadiy.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. He's definitely the most intimidating. So let's go with that. Okay. So Chauncey, do you have warfare to spend?
I do.
Point of warfare for this? Okay.
I do.
So you make that warfare spend. Fortuna, you're gonna take one from Devin.
Yes.
Vincent, what about you?
I don't have any, so if I can yoink it from an NPC, that'd be good.
So mark another one off, Fortuna, from the ones you recruited. And what about Solavita?
I do have warfare, so I will mark one down.
Okay, so the difficulty will not be increased. I have a general idea of what the difficulty is going to be in my head. So make whatever extra spends you want, Arkadiy, to boost your warfare roll, to make it sound like you guys are, again, you guys are trying to almost make it sound like you're like a group of warriors and such. Like it makes sense. Like I think this is sort of a.
What do you mean make it sound like
we are a group of warriors?
We are
a group of warriors and a few geriatrics.
Yes.
And a dude wearing a snake suit.
We got 5 middle-aged people and 4 middle-aged people and 1 ancient crone walking through swamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I will
Go
spend
for it,
3 points of warfare.
Excellent.
Roll a 4, get a 7.
Okay. So you all start like shouting, brandishing your torches. Your torches. You can see that those that you've recruited, the sailors, can just follow Arkadiy's lead and Relis's lead, and they kind of spread out here and there, and they're all calling back. And you can hear the sounds of those weird mockeries of hello begin to shift and almost sound like mockeries of what you guys are shouting. You can hear your voices are almost being parroted back. And once or twice, those of you who have vigilance, you actually see a face kind of peek out from between these like heavy reeds, and it's just like this hideous kind of blackened face with like, it just looks like in this perpetual state of anger. They just look horrible and ugly. And then their mouths open and you see the voice, or you hear the voice come out of it. You just see these huge, powerful fangs. And one of them stands upright at one point and looks like they're about to charge. And they have to be at least 7 feet tall once fully unfurled. And then turns around.
Arkadiy points at Chauncey. He's like, see what I mean there, Chauncey. See face, see mouth, fangs as long as feet.
No. Holy shit! I want to.
You want to make friends now?
No, I want to stab a frog. I don't want to fight that.
And so you see as like Arkadiy and some of the sailors start waving the flames, they he kind of like stumbles back and then turns around and begins like kind of doing this like lope, like half walk, half run. And then you can see there's the sudden sounds of all the others that have been surrounding you. And slowly you start hearing more and more begin to disperse as your warfare was successful. 7 is good enough. And I will say that I'm going to give you 5 refresh tokens for that because you did circumvent what could have been a very serious combat encounter. So you can take 5 for overcoming that with guile and wit.
Can I get? Can I take my 3 warfare back from that?
Yes.
Because I'm
please.
on warfare right now.
Please always load Arkadiy up with warfare.
Can I grab one of the other ones, please?
All yours.
Cool.
Okay.
Are we okay if I take the other one for sway since I'm tapped out of sway?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So now, everyone, keep torch in one hand, weapon in other hand. Let's find this path out of here before they decide to come back and eat Chauncey's face.
Why is it my face?
You are the one who was talking to them. Of course they're going to eat your face first.
But it's the prettiest face. It's the prettiest face, right? So it looks the most appetizing. It's a compliment, really.
Nah. Better your face than your bollocks.
Well,
put it this way.
No, I could survive missing a cheek, I think.
Could you?
Your bollocks, your balls, and
a person could.
Your tackle.
Could you?
I don't like this line of questioning.
We're all going to be just fine. Stop it with all of this doomsaying. We're going to be successful.
We're going to die out here.
Okay.
And Fortuna slaps you on the calves with her
tiny bubbles in my beer makes me happy and full of cheer.
You might not want to, sing so loud they might come back. Be careful.
Oh shit! That was for me.
Perhaps the 2 guys who made, swallow you whole.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are you going to spend his last point to navigate even deeper into this grimy swamp?
It seems like a good idea. I can't.
Right. You don't have to. Okay.
I think the more we, why wouldn't I? Chauncey was 100% doing this to try and have somebody lead us. Of course, he would lean on this guy as much as possible.
To Arkadiy's point, we're all going to die, so we don't need the navigation on the way back, because we're not going to be on the way back.
Basically, what that's been doing, it's been bypassing athletics. I've been bypassing essentially athletics spends on everybody.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because he's picking a really good path. And so that means like it's easier for you to travel. And so I'm not requiring the spends. So it is actually gaining some benefit, in case you were wondering. Okay. You get back to traveling. The sun eventually rises, but where you're at, it doesn't seem to really bring a full light to the sky. The sky overhead has got this kind of gray quality. It's almost yellowish in some ways, like where you can see the sun like sort of cutting through. It almost looks more sickly than it does look more invigorating. Somehow, despite the fact that you've been moving more kind of in a westernly fashion parallel to the plateau to the north, it looks bigger somehow. It looks like it's looming. And you start to see the land now that the sun comes up a little bit better. It has like this perpetual shadow, even though it makes no sense proportionately. Like the size of the plateau, the distance at which you see it, it shouldn't be casting such a long and terrible shadow. But everything here just has this sort of blackened color. It's like looking at something underneath shade. And at a certain point, probably midway through the afternoon, before dusk, you all, Arkadiy, you'll get the sight of it first because of your vigilance, but the rest of you will see it pretty quickly. For the longest time, you thought you were moving in the direction of what you thought was like a hill, and as you get closer, you realize it's a structure of some kind. Arkadiy, you actually can see that it's not just this rounded form, the way a hill might, or even jagged, but it actually looks like it has certain hard right angles to it. And it reminds you of a larger version of something that you saw on your estate that kind of grew during the succession rites. There's like this ziggurat, and that's very much what it looks like at a distance. And when you start getting closer and closer, all of you begin to see it. And Arkadiy, you also see that there are these like devices that seem to be set up, these large, like there's like these large pieces of machinery. You hear the sounds of people kind of shouting in almost industry. You can kind of hear the sounds of it. And you realize as you start to get closer and closer that place is swarming with like, you can see people moving, like little specks of kind of black moving on the various tiers, Arkadiy. Like you're at so much of a distance right now that you can't make anything too precise, but it looks like this like ziggurat has protruded out from the swamp. There are almost like these like industrial cranes that you might see on the docks of Eversink when where you're repairing or putting a ship down for the first time, and you almost see them here and there, and then you see people or at least shadows moving about. Dotting the landscape, there are all sorts of these gnarled-looking trees that look very similar to the type of tree that you saw by the altar in your home in the undervaults. But you can see them scattered in all directions. They should be dead. They look like they're dead. They're literally black and bearing no fruit or leaf or vegetation of any kind. But you do see movement all across this stretch here, centering around that ziggurat. So, what?
Dear cousin Fortuna, it appears perhaps Borda has called others to her aid. You see, they appear to be all over that ziggurat. Building something, perhaps? Solavita, do you recognize what they are building?
Oh, can I guess, spend a point of architects to see if I understand the construct of it?
I don't think you need to make a spend.
Okay.
I think just your knowledge is probably sufficient. It is essentially a temple of some kind. It's not a common sight within the bounds of Eversink, of course. But with your knowledge of some outsiders, with your knowledge of architecture, you know that this is sort of an antiquated form. People don't really build in this style any longer. But this would be an archaeological find in some ways. To see something like this, if it is indeed like found, or if this is constructed, that would be like kind of odd. No one really builds this way. And if it's just something that they're like excavating or something that they're repairing, that in itself would be significant. So yeah, you would kind of know it.
And the material of this temple that is being either constructed or revealed.
A stone of some kind.
Stone of some kind.
Whatever's local. Yeah.
Rigging is also like metal, or is it wood?
You would need to get close for that. Like you guys are not close to it. Like you're seeing all of this at like a mile away kind of deal. Like if you wanted to get closer, like I'm going to call for some checks and some skills and things like that.
Because if this is our destination, if Borda's incarnate form or whatever it is we are going to attempt to destroy is within Ziggurat, based on your understanding of architecture, where within temple would we find her?
This is a very old school temple, and nothing like it is built in Eversink. I think I would need to see the inside of it to get a better idea of the general layout. From this,
so
we're too far away.
Is good. So no sneaking to precise point to complete mission must
yeah,
flounder about a bit.
If that rigging is wood or something easily kind of lit on fire or chopped, we might want to topple one of them to distract them so we can get in the Temple of the Fleas here.
Well, and not just that, but we've been told before that some of the strength comes from the worship, correct? And we're not just going to go in and like swing swords at a god, right? It's more important that we prevent the acknowledgement and the worship, right? So we should fuck up this ziggurat, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes.
You do see all tiny little specks moving around, right? Small,
Yes,
very
yes.
large force on Ziggurat. Very small force here.
I know.
Well,
I
I
was
think
about
we
to ask-
found Vincent's Chugats that he was hearing before. I think we found them.
I was going to ask about a potential idea for a spend.
Okay.
Because I did establish with my personal items, Chauncey has spent a lot of time with the Outsiders because he's now the manager of the E-Ball team that's based out of Cade Town, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's
And
right.
who's to say there wasn't some sort of PR sort of thing where like he needed to be shown because they're the ones that do the steampunk stuff, right?
Right.
They would be the sort that might have their own cranes of a sort.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say he didn't do some sort of PR stunt where he operated something of that nature? Could I potentially make the argument that he can vaguely have an idea of how to move a crane if we wanted to use one of those to hit? If Solovita can identify some structural important part,
Okay.
use the crane to hit it. Just crazy idea.
I would say that the spend to know how to operate a crane is totally fine.
Okay. That's
everything
all
else after that, like that is
that's waiting.
We'll explore that afterwards. But
right, that's waiting to explore after. But just to create that possibility,
I would say you would know. Yeah, if you want to make a spend, I would say you were hanging around Came Town enough that you befriended some folks, and maybe you learned a thing or two.
Yeah. I'm not saying it would be easy, but like if we could get in close and. Solovita, you're a master of architecture,
yes.
And we have masters of stealth here, and as well.
Also me.
I know how to move that machine, the big thing with the thing hanging. I don't really know. I know how to make it move and do the thing and do the stuff. And if you could point out where to make it swing and do a lot of damage and ruin things, I would gladly do that.
Yes, well, and she'll reach in and pull out a book that is not great-grandmother's skin book for once.
It's a great grandpappy's skin book.
No, this is. I was in the last 15 years. I also spent this time with Orsoth, and this is his notes. I kind of tried to talk to him and collect what was around. This is a book about magical architecture that he's built, and if anybody knows it, it's going to be in this book somewhere. It's just we need to. I need to see the inside so I can recognize the guide if it exists in my book.
Hypothetically, what I would say is between the grimoire and your Guild of Architects knowledge that you, with a spend, would be able to navigate this place. Like you could probably suss out how to navigate the interior of it. Don't make the spend now because you're like a mile away. It's not worth doing until you guys figure stuff out. But you would have that in your back pocket if the time comes.
For now, I think we start by sneaking in there without anybody noticing us, which probably means... Are we at dawn right now, or are we at what time of day is it? Dusk?
Not quite. It's the sun's still up. It's again like it's not very bright. The sky very gray, yellow, sickly, and it's end of day.
Dusk is not a bad time to sneak in. Usually, only people that are colorblind can see pretty well with this light spectrum. So,
let me remind you that we are on the Borders Act still. We could still be seen as allies, potentially.
I always appreciate your ability to find allies in people that I don't think are allies. You make the choices that I wouldn't, and it has worked out really well for us, actually. So, well, maybe you can...
Not to say we can still sneak, but if we do encounter them, we have that angle.
I will let you talk to them first while I sneak behind them to stab them in the back, if need be.
Yes, first, with my old eyes, I can barely see anything, so first we must get closer.
Yes, okay. So it is dusk. It's probably an okay sneaking time.
I would, if you want to get closer to get a better idea of what you're dealing with, then I would want we can do a piggyback stealth roll, similar to what we just did with the warfare. If you need to, if you can't make the spend, you can always tap into your allies to help you. Who would want to lead that? Is that a Solovita thing or Arkadiy thing? I know both of you are,
I currently have 1 point of stealth, which means I would be using all of the scouts.
Okay,
Yeah.
I could also volunteer,
Vincent's
depending
got a
on where
couple.
you're at. I could also volunteer.
I've
think Arkadiy's
still
full.
got 10. I've still got
Okay.
10
Okay.
stealth. So
Nope,
yes, I
well,
can.
okay.
That would be Arkadiy then.
Okay,
Okay.
you're 10.
So warfare and stealth. That's
Chauncey-
what he does. That's it.
Just remember-
I had to spend it all to keep us away from the giant snakes.
Yep. Okay, Chauncey, do you have a point to spend for piggybacking?
Yes, I do.
Fortuna, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Solavita,
I got my 1 point
and
left.
Vincent, I think you've got.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't even have to tap into your NPCs yet. So Arkadiy, spend what you want to spend for the roll. Just remember that you all are trying to sneak up to a
Oh, I know.
Okay. So
I will spend 5 points of stealth to try to get us
Ooh,
quietly to the ziggurat. Please give me a good. And I roll a one.
No.
Mother-
Oh my god. I mean, it was at least.
No.
Son of a bitch.
If sir, you
God.
put
you
it
rolled
in
one.
chat that we
Okay.
were rolling better than the ones
she did. I
last
saw it. She
week.
said the 4s are way better than the 1s. I saw that before.
Kill me.
First roll after that.
The dice give it, the
comment.
dice take it away.
Ah,
I mean,
hey.
Okay.
good.
6 is not bad. This is the finale.
Not
This is
great.
the end. This is the last. I'm just saying. Okay. So you do manage. You're bringing your crew with you, right? So it's like all 11.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make
Yep.
sure. All right. So you start moving up, and again, like it's like out of the corner of your right eye. You constantly it's just sort of like ever present, this lingering plateau, and you start seeing like the shadows kind of swirl around it, or the clouds kind of swirl around it as the sun goes down to the west. And you can see as you're moving, like there's the black, thick water that is patchy here and there, and it's kind of sloshing around. There's these half submerged roots and these slick mounds. Like it absolutely reeks here. You see chunks of stone or some kind of like compacted mud, and they have grown over top of it this like slick and just hideously foul vegetation. And as you get closer, you start to see certain things start to pop up. First, Fortuna, you would immediately notice the sudden, as scattered about, not just the exterior of this ziggurat, but elsewhere in the wilderness around you, like to the north, to the south, to the southwest, etc. You see these orbs of blue light that you have become very familiar with, and you know are one of the common like spells that Chugat shamans often use for light, but also for attacking. Something that you yourself have actually learned in the time since.
Yeah, she's tugging on Solavita's arm, pointing out all the lights popping up.
You also notice other lights forming. You see like these orange and yellow lights of lanterns and such. You see these kind of tattered canopies that have been set up. As you get closer and closer, you realize like there's like this, like you were only seeing kind of like the top of the ziggurat, and you can see like it's like you're almost coming to the edge of a sinkhole, and you're like kind of looking down, and you can see there's this infrastructure, like these retaining wall around the exterior. It's as if they've been like digging or pulling the ziggurat up out of this like this swamp itself, and you can see like there's all these canopies and some tents and things, and you see not just those like thick squat Chugat, but you can see similarly humans, or at least the types that you encountered while you were in Haven, and those that attacked the Opera House back in Eversink. You can see many of those types of clothing, like just dark clothing, normal people, and they're working and intermingling in some way. So you would assume that they're you've heard of the Covenant of the Mire, is the phrase I think Solavita had learned at one point. You can see that there's like at the base of where the ziggurat is emerging from this sinkhole, there is this ring of light, of that blue orb light, Fortuna, and you can see that there's like these these shaman of some kind, like gesticulating strangely. And you can see the grime and the mud and the mire around the ziggurat is like bubbling in some way. And then you can see that a lot of like the Covenant themselves have, again, the tools of industry. You see cranes, you see you can definitely see like retaining walls have been built, like they're trying to keep back in some ways the swamp, like they're literally trying to unearth it in some way. And obviously at the center of this, you can see this ziggurat. It's about probably half the size of your estate grounds, maybe twice the size of that small shrine that came up. It is taller than it is wider. It's kind of got this isosceles kind of feel to it in some ways. And you can see that now that you're closer, etched into the stone, you can see all these like coiling serpent imagery that are being kind of washed away in some cases. And there are, I would say, like there are these kind of scattered dark pools here and there where you see a handful of like Shugat every now and then kind of go up to, and they sort of like almost like lean down and like almost like they're washing their hands, but that can't be right. But you see them kind of like sort of almost like they're sticking their hands and ritualistically engaging with the water. And this is what you see. And in addition to that, some of those pools and rivulets, you see other things moving about in them as well. And this is what you observe as you were kind of on the edge of this. It's when I say sinkhole, it's not like it's going like super far down. It's just like a little bit of a dip. So that is what you see.
There are many Shugats and humans and Arkadiy, you are not wrong. My old eyes did not see them, but we are vastly outnumbered.
Ah, yes. This is what I was saying. So perhaps we need to find a way to sneak inside quietly and find a way to deal with Borda without, say, perhaps attacking entire army of Shugat and crazed humans.
Yeah, I think it's getting darker, and we can definitely sneak in as well. I'm with Arkadiy on this sneaking plan.
I would agree. Let's just say everything goes completely to shit. They do have some walls up trying to keep the swamp from coming back in. If somebody were to do a really stupid last-ditch effort to try and break one of those walls, which one would probably be the best in your estimation to slow things down?
Solavita would know that based upon like the structure of this thing, like it's meant to be symmetrical to some degree, so it really would come down to the condition, which she would probably need to get up a little bit closer to be able to tell.
Yes, I can help find the weak spot, and maybe somebody ridiculously lucky can take an opportunity if I can point it out. Or somebody with a lot of very magical firepower.
So are we holding here until the darkness extends beyond dusk?
Well, I worry our own ability to see is going to be impaired by the darkness.
And perhaps Shugat see okay in dark, where we do not. If we need to make light, we will be in deep trouble. Perhaps we try to get inside Ziggurat while it's still semi-light.
Yes.
That sounds reasonable to me. I don't feel like stumbling in the dark here.
It's a fair point. It's already dark enough for me. I can barely see. So I am okay with this.
So Solavita, where do you think we have a way to get into this ziggurat without being observed, perhaps?
Oh, let's see here. Jeff, can I make an architect spend?
No spend necessary. I think you would look down and you could see on the southern side of the ziggurat, there certainly appears to be some kind of cut in the lowest unearthed tier that looks like it potentially could be a way in, like an archway, perhaps.
Oh, look, if you see very, your eyes are kid, you could probably see it quite well, but down on the southern area there, it looks like they cut a little bit off of the temple. It could sneak in, squeeze in. Chauncey, you're going to have to suck up the gut a little bit, but...
Was he just eat shit?
Yeah, we'll see, if you can maybe block the hole for us if water starts coming in.
I want to. Can you do a gainer? I can still do a gainer with a little bit of stretching before.
Yeah, okay, sure.
They argue in whispers very quietly.
Yes.
Arkadiy silently shakes his head like he's family. Why was I born into this family?
But yes, I think we can sneak in there. I am happy to spend all 6 points of scouting people that I have collected if we want to just do a +6 on the big roll. We're put to quantify with numbers.
Sure. As you turn around to
They're gone.
present this to your scouts, and you start counting, you notice that someone's missing. It's not one of your scouts per se, but you notice that one of the people that Fortuna, not Devin himself, but Devin's the other fighter, you can see he does not seem to be with you. All of you, I like to think, were like doing that kind of classic like sneak up, like the belly roll, and like you're just kind of looking over and trying to see what you can see, and all of you start to back up, stand up, and go to turn and converse. Someone's missing.
Am I counting wrong? We are supposed to be 11 people, but I see 10 of us. And Fortuna, I thought you had 2 people with you.
Yes, Mr. Devin, where is your companion?
What? Where is he? Hey.
He's like looking, and he's like kind of half yelling, half whispering. He's doing the Jack Bauer thing. He's just like, John, where are you, John? And there's just no response.
This is unacceptable cowardice. Is where Fortuna goes with it.
It might not be cowardice.
I expect Devin's poor friend has met grisly fate, either due to Ape or to Chugat, so perhaps our time is very limited before someone comes to find out what else might be up in this area.
Yes, I think continuing to move is our best decision right now.
Otherwise, he may be spy for Borda, in which case, even greater trouble for us.
That would be very complicated if that were the case, but Solavita, forward.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted by Jeremy talking about his dad bod again.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I'm happy if everybody has a +1 stealth to contribute. I'm happy to spend like pretty much all 6 from the scouts just to like really boost us and preserve ours.
Okay.
I am just going to roll my own stealth and assume, and we'll do a +6 on that.
Totally fine. Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
Son of a bitch.
It's
So
still 7 at the end.
7?
7. Well, it's still a D6 no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah. So D6 plus 1 is 7. Whew, that's rough.
Ooh,
Okay.
Oh god.
Ow.
Okay. You all begin to like you kind of give up on John as he's gone. Nothing you can do about it now. And do you have the element of hopefully a surprise as you start clambering down the side of this sinkhole? You can tell that there are little like struts here and there where you can tell like there was an attempt to keep some of the sediment from falling back in. So the climb down isn't all that difficult here and there. It's more, the only reason it's difficult is you're trying to be quiet. And you get down to that base level. Your feet sink. Like you can tell, like the ground just feels like you're sinking into it. You're looking around and there's dozens of human cultists. Well, they used to be human. There's something else now. And then Chugat moving around here and there. You start to hear the sounds of what some of the shamans are doing at the base. You can hear that guttural chant. And Fortuna, you above all, when you had that little the little conversation with him years ago during the Sins of the Saltbound. But you can hear something similar, and there's like this harmonization to it. And every time, like it like hiccups for a second, you see you feel the earth just shudder for a second, and then you hear the sounds of, and like by an inch, you see the temples that just rises up a little bit further. You see like some of the cranes kind of swing over, and now that you get closer, you start to see there's like cabling here and there that's kind of attached on these little like pythons and such that have been like hammered into the sides of the ziggurat, where they're literally, you can tell they're trying to dig and unearth this. You pass by some of these canopies, and once or twice, like you all make just a touch too much sound. You hear your foot like plugs, and as it pops out, it does that kind of sound. And suddenly there's like, what was that? And someone from underneath a canopy where there's like this like crude table that has been laid out, and there's tools and things. And you see this large angry man pushes his head out from underneath. Half his face looks like, he's a lizard. The other half looks like he's a human. And he looks around and he looks around, and he doesn't see anything. Get back to work! He just randomly shouts out of a group of people that were working already. And then you get to the edge of the ziggurat itself, and you've been moving and sweeping, and there's chunks of like debris and such that you're able to slip between. But at a certain point, there's just a stretch of openness. Fortunately, the sky has darkened. There are still these orbs that are occasionally giving these little scouting bits of light. You get right to the edge of that pathway in. You peek around, and you can see that there is maybe recessed about 30 feet into, or not 30 feet, I would say maybe 20 feet. What is that, like 6 meters or so? Is that something like that? 6 meters or so, that's for you, into the ziggurat. You can see that there is an archway, and there are coiling serpents that seem to come together over top of it. And right as you begin to slip along the sides, keeping your backs to like one wall, you hear the croaking sound of and an explosion happens above your head as you see this blue orb come flying through, and the entire wall above you gets caught on this blue flame as the swamp gas begins to dance in front of you. And when you look back, you can see one of these Chugat shamans are looking directly at you and is calling, and there's people running in your direction. And we're going to stop there, and we will pick up on that next week, which will most certainly be the finale. As unfortunately, 7 wasn't quite enough to get
finale.
To get into.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. He says finale. I think TPK.
Yeah. And then we're going to do session 0.
Tomato.
We'll see.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
you guys did honestly pretty phenomenal. Like the skunk ape thing could have gone so bad. So like that could have gone really, really bad. So like you guys did this kind of a clever way. And then getting all the bonuses from your recruitment that was probably really useful as well. So we'll see once you get inside and how this goes.
Oh boy.
We're there.
Oh no.
We're there.
I can't believe I'm
Go inside, do some sort of weird ritual that Vincent knows and only Vincent. And then let's just hope he doesn't die right now.
So keep Vincent alive.
Yeah.
Did he tell Kips, or did he tell you? Did he tell Solovita?
Yeah, I told Solvita on the boat.
Okay, good.
So
okay.
Two people that know.
Chauncey's gonna be our
Push
rear
Vincent in
guard
front of
here.
them.
He's gonna stand there in that
Yeah.
archway and just fight them off until he dies while we go finish that. Right, man, Chauncey.
Yeah. Yeah. You know that ability, Where'd They Go?
You guys are gonna be asked that about Chauncey.
I've got
I know
that.
it well.
And there
I
are
know it very
trains
well.
around here. I know I'm out of this. I mean, I'm here with you till the end. Yes.
Big damn heroes. I mean,
Fingers
not like
crossed behind your back as you say that.
you guys be great. What are you talking
Oh
about?
gosh.
Live forever.
Oh
All right.
goodness.
Honestly, that ghost that sucked
sure.
up Vincent's memory might have given him good therapy to deal with.
Yeah,
For some
probably.
time.
Just took his trauma from him. Yeah. Just did. I should have made it so you can't do chains anymore, because isn't your chains born from your time in chains in prison? You should have switched to spheres.
Pretty much.
Oh.
I mean,
All
not
right.
too late. Hasn't done magic since, right?
True.
That's fair.
True.
It's fair. But it's a defining feature. I don't want to take that from him.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kill him. That's fine. All right.
Defining feature of life isn't as relevant.
Yeah. Okay, let's do a couple closing plugs and we'll get out of here. So I'm going to toss it down to Aaron. Aaron, what's going on over on Garblight?
Thanks much. So today on Garblight Gabe's YouTube channel, we did our finale of our Otherscape run through. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out yet, go check out Johnny Geist and the Ghost Train and the end of that adventure. Next week at either 12:30 or 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Garblight Games YouTube channel, you can see Pete jumping into the GM seat, and we will be doing session 0 for Daggerheart. And the campaign frame he is using is his World Mountain frame, and we are going to be at the McPanelith. That is the wall at the lowest level of the World Mountain that separates the denizens of the World Mountain and the forces of hell. And we are going to be shock troopers and special forces trying to keep the wall intact. So that should be
awesome premise. That sounds really fun. Very cool. All right. Let's see. Other things. Let's talk about Huckleberry for a second. Our dear friend Steven has been making Huckleberry, a Weird West RPG. You can find more information up on huckleberryrpg.com. You can grab a quick draw edition over on DriveThru. And there's a new update coming tomorrow that adds mounts and machines and all sorts of new hostiles and fun stuff. So you should definitely check it out. And in a couple of months, it's going to be up on BackerKit, and you can get your own shiny, fancy print copy. So that'd be awesome. In terms of streaming, tomorrow night we should have some Magnus Archives up for you. So it's our Cypher system, our other Cypher system game. We haven't played in a little while, but it'll be up. We're good to go. Saturday we've got more Call of Cthulhu, where we're still in Ethiopia, and they probably don't want to be anymore. It's been rough. That's been rough. And then Monday, Time Watch. If you like Swords of the Serpentine, if you like Gumshoe System, if you like Kevin Culp games, come back on Monday. Watch us play through some Time Watch. We killed Neil Armstrong. We killed Buzz Aldrin. They were talking too much shit, so we took out Apollo 11. And
so long.
Now we're fighting weird Catholics on the moon. This is literally what we're doing. I don't know. It's weird.
So good.
It's like the Adeptus. We're like the Adeptus Mechanicus. If the Adeptus Mechanicus were Catholic and they had a base on the moon, and they didn't like Apollo 11, that's effectively the story.
I told my friend that Jeremy was playing a caveman. He's very jealous.
Yeah, he's definitely playing caveman.
I love it.
For sure.
What was the thing? Like, didn't you know something? Oh yeah, you knew Stanley Kubrick films, but you also knew. Oh my God, who was the comic? Alan Moore. You just knew all Alan Moore comics? Is that what it was? You don't believe in the Apollo missions and that the moon landing existed, but you definitely believe in
I
Alan
definitely
Moore
read the comics.
I mean,
He's
that
a
actually
caveman
makes
that,
sense.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
He binges pieces of history because he's trying to learn, but he's still a caveman, just like randomly grabbing at chunks here and there.
For sure.
Gotta love Mutt.
Yeah, and then Tuesday we're on a break, but we will be back. As Kipster's going to be running a new game for us later in July, but we're taking a little break so that she can do some prep. But we will be back, and then obviously next Thursday we got the finale, the Swords of the Serpentine. We'll see who makes it out. We'll see how it ends, and we'll see if Borda finally gets her ass handed to her. So find out. But that's it for us. Thank you to Singularity Roleplay and Matt and Hat for the raids. We are going to carry that forward and raid somebody else. I'm going to throw us on the end screen. The raid will pop up. Follow that raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Arrivederci.